Hi all and welcome to a Path of Exile 3.23 update. In this video, chapters marked below, I'm going to go through every single build I have currently in Path of Exile. It's something I've wanted to do for a long while and I thought now is the time. So every single character I'm going to go through in every single league. I've got characters in Perma League Standard, I've got characters in Affliction Trade, I've got one character in a private league and one character in a hardcore in Permanent Standard Hardcore SSF. So I'm going to go through them all, go through their builds, go through their gear, go through their M2X and all like that, and that's all down in the chapters below if there's a particular build you want to see. And then there's a very important outro at the end that you kind of need to listen to, so if you just want to skip to that, you can do as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I don't talk too fast. If I do, slow it down. People keep on saying my videos are too quiet, so I've jacked the volume up to max. So if this hurts your ears, blame the people that can't be bothered to turn up their own volume. Enjoy the video. So the first build on the list is my legacy build. This character was for the endless heist mechanic, which GGG removed because they removed the books of regression. The books of regression was something whereby you would sell an orb of scouring and a wisdom scroll to the vendor, get a non-tradable, non-transferable book, and it would lower your level by 1 and set the XP of that level to 0. So you can see here. And then what you would do in Heist is complete heists, level up, which would refresh the vendor, buy all the contracts from the vendor, and do those contracts, level back up again, do the book of regression, etc, etc. Now GGG removed these with the reason given that they were designed for PvP, and PvP is no longer a big thing in PoE, so they removed them. Their official statement is that they did not know that this would affect Endless Heist. Personally, I think that is a lie. I think they knew exactly what they were doing, and they didn't want people not going into maps and making hundreds of X/divines at the same time. So this is that character. You can't do this anymore, but I'm still going to show it off. So we can see we are a level 59 character. The stats of this character, this is how long the character is. So it's 783 days old from the day of creation. It has died 3 times in all of that time. Please note that this character hasn't been played since the books of regression were removed, which I think was several leagues ago, so it's probably a couple of years now. And we have played it for 11 days, nearly 12 days, well 11 and a half days. Let's get into the gear. Again, this character is set to level 59, so all the gear and the gem levels must be specific to that level. So we have a rat's nest, quite a nicely rolled rat's nest. In here we've got our phase run with efficacy, increased duration and life tap. This was an alt quality efficacy given even more generation, but alt quality gems have now been removed from the game as per 3.23 patch notes, and they're all now transfigured gems. Any alt quality gems that are in stashes, on gear, etc. have all been set to default. We've got our hunter influenced Hero's Bite. Not very well rolled, but it's a hunter's influence one, and I thought that was quite cool, so I've kept it on there. It's mainly acting as a bit of a stat stick. We've got our Quill Rain here. Again, not very well rolled, but I don't need it to be, in honesty. And it has got our Toxic Rain with Vicious Proj, Void Manipulation, Conk Effect, Efficacy, and Ballista Totem. We have our 6-link Queen of the Forest with an incubating item which will never be done because this character will never be played again unless they bring back Endless Heist, which I doubt they will. In here we have Caustic Arrow, Mirage Archer, Void Manipulation, Vicious Proj, Efficacy and Decay. Now when this character was running around, Decay was absolutely awesome for Divergent Caustic Arrow. With alt quality gems being removed, this will probably need to be changed if this character ever becomes viable again. We have some Hydrocell gauntlets here with Legacy enchant on. And in here we've got our Purity of Elements, Malevolence, Enlighten, and Flesh and Stone. In the boots, excuse me, we've got our Castle Damage Taken, Molten Shell, Increased Duration, and Life Tap. That's for the Agility Beams. And then we have a Resistance Amethyst Ring for that Chaos Resist. Again, the plus 12 on fire and Chaos is because of the level requirement of 59. Then we've got a Ish Rolled Hoop of All, quite a tasty one. It's the rarity of items is irrelevant because it's a heist character, but other than that, it's 1 to 7 points off being max with a attribute catalyst on there. And then prior to 3.23, I had this Simplex amulet that I found in Heist and hit up with some fossils. So we ended up with this increased evasion, life, damage over time, and chaos resist. With it being 25% increase, that is an absolute ton of all 4 things that I needed on this character, and I did that with I think about 4 or 5 fossil rolls. And then it's got sovereignty and physical and chaos damage modifiers catalyst. Then we go down to the belt, which is a stat stick for strength, some resists, and then the same for the searching idol. It's a stat stick for the strength and dex with some life and damage over time. We have the Thieves Trinket on here, basic currency, and then chromes dropped as fusings, and it's more currency as well. This actually needs to be come out of this character and go on to another character, but I'll do that another time. Flasks, again, all tailored to level 59. Most of them are legacy. So we've got the Life Flask, we've got the Legacy Quicksilver, we've got Granite Flask, Jade Flask, and finally the Stibnite Flask. As for the tree, this will show up on any standard character because every league we get a full respec of our talents in standard, so that just comes up every time. I'm not going to respec this character, there's no need to. Excuse me. So that's the tree there. We come through all here, get all of this for invasion and stuff. There's aspect of the links up through to the spell suppression, down there for the movement and more spell suppression, down here for life, down here for flask effect and movement speed, down here for life, down here for onslaught effect, up here for damage, and we come up here for the charisma and auras thing. We never did lords and I never got a carried for it, so this is only 6 ascendancy points. I can't carry now because that'll earn me XP and may even tip me over to level 60, which I don't want to do. The ideal would be to be carried, and if I get close I just die and then try again. We've got Revenge of the Hunted there, over for Hunter's Gambit, up here for wasting, through coordination, entropy, Fangs of Viper, up to Blood Drinker, and then over to Mind Drinker and the Minor Reservation. And then the one and only jewel is the Legacy Replica Conquers Efficiency. You cannot get this jewel anymore outside of Perma-League Standard. So that's that one. And MTX wise, sorry, I almost forgot. We've got the Scourge Weapon skin. We've got the Metamorph Weapon effect. And then it's the Cursed Armour set. So Cursed Hat, Cursed Body Armour, Corsair Cloak even, Cursed Gloves, and Cursed Boots. We've got the Gemling Sage Portrait Frame, and then invisible buff effects on most of the auras, but I've stolen them off this character for other characters. I need to buy some more. It's my most purchased MTX. I just don't like the auras swinging around. I hate them. It's horrible. Anyway, that's the Endless Heist character, the Legacy character. Even without Flask effect, this thing does get a pretty move on as a raider with all the buffs to movement speed, and the Queen of the Forest. So yeah, that's that character, and we'll move on to the next one. This is my Occultist Death's Oath character, currently level 97. Let's look at its stats. So we go age first. 801 days. Deaths 170 times. This character has the most amount of regrets ever spent on any character, trying to get the way I like to play Death's Oath to work, and in doing so, it had, in the early stages, it had 0 defences, so I was using 4 or 5 portals per map. I tried it out in Delve and it died. I tried it out in Heist, it was okay, but there was a few deaths there as well. And I tried it out running Temples, Chronicles of Temple, and it did okay, but the damage wasn't there because a lot of them have Chaos Resist. And then I tried it in running Expedition Logbooks, and it was fine. So this character runs any and all Expedition Logbooks I get. Unfortunately, I don't run Expedition, so it's kind of been sat around, and it's more of a trader character. So if I'm watching a movie or some YouTube videos or a PoE podcast, I'll have this character sat in standard, just doing trading and some crafting. And because of that, it's got quite a hefty days played. Most of that is AFK hideout warrior stuff. Let's get into the build. So as a caustic arrow Death's Oath character, we have the standard dot bow. It's not great. It's only T4 dot with a T2 suffix dot. I need to get a better one, but that costs currency. I don't really want to invest in this character at the moment. Again, we've got caustic arrow, awakened Vishproj, woke void manipulation, woke swift affliction, conk effect, and an empower. For our helm, we've got a Viridius Veil, which is legacy because of the helm enchant on there. It's the only way I can run this build now. We've got grace, malevolence, determination, and enlighten. We've got our impresence with Disciple of the Slaughter for our frenzy charges with an attribute catalyst on there. We've got a legacy quiver with a +2 max chaos res roll, chaos res, prod speed, etc, etc. You can see it all there. I want to change this out for a double dot quiver, but that means I lose the max chaos res, so I'm hesitant. The max chaos res helps out from the damage caused by Death's Oath, which I'll go into in a minute. Speaking of Death's Oath, there it is. Take 450 chaos damage per second for 3 seconds on kill. That max chaos res helps with that. This isn't a great Death's Oath armor. It's not even a perfect armor roll, but it's nice. Again, it needs some love on this character. A lot of gear, it needs updating, but I need to put currency into it, and at the moment I've got other builds I want to put currency in. So this one's got the standard gems, so we are looking at woke swift affliction, void manipulation, AoE, efficacy, less duration, and life tap. For our magic ring, we've got life and then stats with life and mana catalysts. This one is a resist ring, as you can see, and it's got resists on there as well to help out. Down for the Asenath's gloves with our vitality, defiance banner for the anti-crit, awoke blasphemy support into despair. I'll just get a drink. I'll let you look at the stitch belt while I drink. The main purpose of this stitch belt is to get the strength to allow me to put on the Death's Oath armor, and then that provides the stats to wear it. So technically I could take this off, but if I take it off again, I won't be with a different belt, I won't get it back on again. So it's just easier to leave this belt on. The resist is nice, and it is missing a roll. I know it's only got 5 rolls, not 6, but again, I can't be asked to update it at the moment. Phasing, damage over time, and life with legacy implicit on there. And then finally we go over to the boots for lots of resists, movement speed, etc. And in here we've got our empower, withering step, second wind, and dash. Works out quite nicely. This trinket, the sole reason for this trinket is for the 10% chance to duplicate contained rogue markers, and that is it. On to the flasks. I love these flasks. Eternal flasks with recovery if used while on low life, and anti-bleed. A lot of people want a bubbling or seething flask for some reason, but once you get into 4k life, a seething doesn't do even half your health pool. If you're quick enough to hit a bubbling or seething life flask, then you are quick enough to hit a more recovery if used while on low life. Once it gets down to about 25%, you hit this and boom, your life's back up to max with one hit, and you've got 3 charges on this thing as well. So this is why I prefer Eternal Life Flasks over Divine Life Flasks, and this is why I prefer more recovery if used while on low life and the anti-bleed, because it's just easier. Legacy Quicksilver Flask on the movement speed there, Legacy Granite Flask and Jade Flask, and then the Legacy Silver Flask on the end. So that's all the gear. We'll just flip into the MTX. We've got the Arc of Defiance weapon skin, Ebony weapon effect, and then we've got the Cult of Apocalypse armor set. I believe it's all, yep. And then we've got Metamorph footprints there. Then we've got the Prospero's ring, which gives you a little golden fist bump when you trade. We've got the Scourge Wings back attachment, the Gemling Sage portrait frame, and the Imperator apparition. Oh, and apparently a lot of my MTX are wrong. Uh-oh. It's not going to let me do that. It's not going to let me do that now. Oh, fine, I'll leave that till another time. Okay, let's look at the passives. Again, I'm not respecing this character. There's no need to. Okay, looks like I've DC'd. That's fine. I can still carry on with the video. Full 8 passives: Unholy Authority, Profane Bloom, through Void Beacon into Withering Presence. You can see we've got here, we go to Heart and Soul. We've got a Zabaqua, Glorious and Vanity with Legacy in Frenzy Charge duration. This changes that into Defined Flesh and converts all of these to whatever they say they are. Most of them are okay. I think it's only the suppressed chance and lightning damage that are the ones that are a bit out of sync. I do need to get another one, again, currency sync. We've got the full AoE wheel. We go up here for our Transcendent Mind Jewel with Legacy Regen, through the Cruel Preparation, up for Heart of Darkness and Corruption. We are EB, as you can see, with the energy shield there. And then we come down for Growth and Decay, up for Atrophy and Chaos Mastery with Influence there. We come down through here. We've slotted in an Inspired Learning with the Mana Node, infused Blood Drinker up through to Resourcefulness. That procs our 4 radiuses. We've got our Fangs of Viper, Entropy, Blood Siphon, Coordination, Wasting, down through for Charisma and the damage buff, Revenge of the Hunted, and Hunter's Gambit. I've then slotted in an Impossible Escape for Perfect Agony, so I can pick up the multi-shot for the Caustic Arrow. It's such a quality of life having this one node for the Caustic Arrow when you're running logbooks or mapping with Caustic Arrow. It's brilliant. I love it. It's great. We've got the Life Mastery in there, the Mana Reservation and Mastery there, obviously. Yeah. Oh, Cluster Jewel. This is only a 1 Cluster Jewel setup at the moment. We've got the Unholy Grace, Unwavering Evil, Wicked Pal with the Legacy Regen, and then we slotted in a Eternal Suffering Flow of Life with Legacy Flask Duration, and this is the jewel we've currently got in there, mainly for some res, life and attributes. And then finally we have another Chaos Damage Over Time, Medium Cluster, Student of Decay, Unwavering Evil, and then we've got this little Hypnotic Eye Jewel with, again, the stats I need: phasing, damage of time, life, and some strength and dex. So that's everything on the tree, and that's this character done. And we'll move on to the next one. Next we have my Inquisitor RF, which is loosely based on Pox's RF guide of 3.22. I'm not updating 3.233 because I have different gear and I'm in permanent standard legacy gear. There's really no need. This character is my one and only level 100 solo XP'd all the way from level 1. No party breaches, no 5-way carries. Got a little bit hard from level 98 onwards. I was running very difficult maps, which was causing me to die all the time. As soon as I changed my Atlas passives and then ran maps that weren't so dangerous, I leveled up quite quickly. There are previous videos on my channel that you can look through to see the progress of the XP bar, and also one showing when I actually dinged to level 100. Excuse me. Okay. I've got a bit of a sore throat from various things, so I've got some water on hand to help with that. Let's have a look at their stats. This character is 656 days old. It has died 103 times. At least 20 of those was from level 98 to 99, and then 99 to 100. And it's been played for just under 16 days. Let's get into the gear. So this has a standard opal scepter. It's not that great. It needs replacing. I'm not going to replace it yet. I have other characters that need more gear. This build works as is, so there's no need to replace this one yet. This holds my Herald of Ash, Tempest Shield and Skitterbots. We've got a typical RF helm with RF inside, Woke Swift Affliction, Life Tap and Woke LE Focus. We move on to the shield, Aegis Aurora with our shield charge, fast attacks, Life Tap. Then we've got a Legacy Ashes of the Stars. As of 3.23 it no longer has the reservation efficiency. The Saintly Chainmail, I rolled this myself using various crafting methods. You can see all the stats. It doesn't have a life mod, so I can take advantage of the 15% increased max life if your body armor has no life. So that's what we did. And this has got our fire trap in there with Trap and Mine, Woke Swift Affliction, Life Tap, Woke Burning Damage and Empower. We've got 2 stat stick rings. Dex life resists on this one, and mainly resists with a little bit of life on there. Go down to the gloves. Life resists with AoE. In here as our Enlighten for our Malevolence, Purity of Ice and Determination gems. Legacy of Fury Boots with Frostblink, Flammability, Hex Touch and Life Taps. This should be Woke Hex Touch. I've just not got around to buying one. We've just got a Smuggler's Cache, Duplicate, Chance, Rag Marker, Trinket. Everything else on here is irrelevant. This character does not do Heist. It just runs maps to get the caches. The belt I rolled myself. It is missing the increased max life. I need to find another Elder or Hunter influence belt and then look for the increased max life with a max life roll and the relevant resists. It's also got life and mana catalyst on there, as you can see. And then this is our Igel for some more resists, life and a little bit of mana. As you can see, my mana bar is almost gone. We've got the Life Flask, Legacy 5 charges, and then Anti-Bleed, Ruby Flask. Again, most of this gear is Legacy. Gain 7 instead of the 3 now. 33 increased duration with attack speed for the shield charge on the Granite Flask. And then we've got the Silver Flask, 7 charges and armor. And then finally we have the Bottled Faith. That's all the gear and the gems. Let's move on to the MTX on the character. This one's got quite a few. We'll start off with the gear first. The Deep Water Weapon skin, followed by the Annihilator Weapon effect with the Hux Helmet skin, the Infernal Body Armor. Then we're carrying around the Purple Crystal Cloak back. We've got the Ethereal Ashes of the Stars, which is from a Battle Pass, I believe. Same for the Indomitable Aegis Aurora skin. Down to the gloves, which are Infernal gloves and Insatiable Malice boots with the Ancestral Granite Flask effect, Gemini Sage Portrait Frame and the Imperator Apparition Portal effect. We've got the Cocooning Melding of Flesh MTX, and then invisible buffs for most, if not all, of our auras. We are using Divine Righteous Fire. Oh! Huh. Interesting. Let's get back into it. Random DC. Thanks, GGG. Is it going to go? No. Come on. I'll finish it in town. Maybe. Yeah, we'll finish it in town. Sod it. Where do we get to? Oh yes, Righteous Fire effect. We've got the Oblivion Fire Trap effect, Deep Water Shield Charge, and then just Skitterbox and Frostblink on the end. As for the passive tree, bump, there we go. As you can see, we're up here for Retribution, down through Discipline and Training for Sanctity, down for Devotion and Glancing Blows for Sanctuary. We have Divine Shield. We come down for Hearty and Barbarism with the max life roll there. Down here for Juggernaut and the max +1 max res for Armour everywhere. There's the Melding of the Flesh Jewel MTX. This is a Legacy melding of the double Legacy melding of the Flesh. One, it doesn't have the minus max res, and two, it's got the avoid being shocked implicit, which is irrelevant because I'm walking around with Tempest Shield, but it's on there anyway. We have the Sanctum of Thought with the Fizz damage, hits taken as chaos damage, and then we come up here for Divine Judgment and Exposure. We've got this Cluster Jewel, Cremator Prismatic Heart Widespread, which you are not taking widespread destruction. I need better cluster jewels. Here we have Flow of Life wrapped in flame with some res on our burning damage medium. The other burning damage medium has Burning Bright and Flow of Life with some res. And then the two smaller clusters are Mana Reservation, one with for Determination and Life and res. And then here we have one for Purity of Ice, which gives us Dex and chance to blind on hit. And then it's also got some res and regen. We come up here for our Balbala, Brutal Restraint, which is basically Dex, I think. Yeah, more Dex everywhere. On the Divine Judgment, it's got chance to blind. On Bar Devotion, it's got poisons, which is irrelevant. Sanctum of Thought gives us Onslaught on kill. Holy Dominion gives us Dex. And then Faith and Steel gives us 20% increased elemental damage. It needs replacing. It'll do for now. And in here we've got Armour applies to chaos damage from hits as well. Up here we've got the full Sovereignty Wheel -1 with the increased effect. The full Purity of Flesh Wheel through for the Holy Fire and the regen. Down for the Arcane Guarding. This then caps us for spell block. Down through for Elemental Overload. Up for Acromy and 10% damage over time multiply if I've killed recently. Through for Cruel Prep and the 15% increased max life. For Deep Thoughts and the Mana Reservation. And then finally Heart of Flame and Breath of Flames. And that's it. That is that one. All done and dusted. See if I can get in my hideout now. Is it going to go? Oof. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so there's Righteous Fire on, and then we just shield charge around. You can see the Deep Water MTX as well. And that's it. And there's a Frostblink to apply the flammability if and when I need it. And it's a level 1 Frostblink so we don't kill ourselves with Elemental Reflect. Let's get the next one done. Now we move on to our other Templar. This is a Hierophant this time, level 95, and the stats are there. Aged 590 days, died 87 times, and played for 6 days. Most of the deaths are with me testing out what the build could do for content, and at the time I had the build, it wasn't very much. It couldn't do pretty much anything because it had no defences. It is a DPS glass cannon build. However, so the character got stripped down, most of the gear got sold, I deleted the character. I made a note of the details just in case, and I'm glad I did, because when Sanctum came back as core, I was able to email GGG support with the relevant details. They restored the character, I re-geared it, and we are back up and running. So let's get into the gear and the gems. We have our standard setup for a dex stacking Ballista build for Hierophant. So we've got our Iron Commander, Siege Ballista, added cold damage, crit damage, LE damage, crit strikes and inspiration. Some of those gems should be woke. Into our Legacy Fractal Thoughts, because it's got the Mana Reservation enchant on there. It's got Defiance Banner for the anti-crits more than anything else. Purity of Elements, which makes some of my flasks out of date. I just haven't got round to replacing them. Enlighten, Hatred. Into our Legacy Hero's Demise. For our one-off perfectly rolled Astramentus, it's got 99 out of 100. With Sovereignty. Down for our stat stick rings, both of them have got dex and resists. Into our Wild Wrap for Frenzy, which then has Cull Strike and Enhance. It's also got GMP. It also has Frostbite from Hex Touch, which should be woke, and that is the first upgrade I need to do on this character when I get there. We go down to the Legacy Gloves because it's got enchant on there. As you can see, it's mostly resists and a stat stick. In here we have an Enhance with Sniper's Mark, Frostbomb and Arcanist Brand. That should be level 1. Haven't got round to de-leveling it yet. Finally, the last set of armour is the Gurrican's Flight standard for our build. Lots of decks, and we get more life per dex. Excuse me. We then move on to Enlighten for precision. This was an alt quality gem, which is why it's got a quality on there with 3.23. Obviously alt qualities are gone, it's all transfigured, and they haven't got round to doing auras yet. Down to our dash with Second Wind, giving it an extra cooldown. Our belt, which again is mostly stat stick, lots of resists on there. I prefer a dex implicit belt, but unfortunately the one I had I sold because I didn't think I'd play this build again, and they are now skyrocketed in price. I will get one at some point. Into the Idol, which again is just some life and dex. It's pretty bad rolled, but it's the one I had at the time. Flasks, internal life flask, as per previous videos, previous segments, I prefer internal life flasks. This one's got an anti-bleed on it with extra charges, so I can use it more often inside Sanctum. We've got a Quicksilver flask there. We've got a Legacy Useless Quartz flask, because this is one I need to change. I just haven't got around to it, so we'll ignore that one. Same with the Granite flask. We've got Purity of Elements, so I've got to replace these two. And then this one is an immunity to poison diamond flask with gain 6 charges rather than the now max 3. So that's all the gear and the gems. Let's have a look at the MTX. We have the angelic bow and quiver skins. We've got the eerie weapon effect, the Sunspire hood, elite Fate Weaver body armor, gloves and boots, the standard portrait frame and portal effect I have on pretty much all my characters, invisible effects on the auras, and then we've got the demonic Arctic Ballista totem skin as well, which if I press the right button looks like that. Just take another drink. On to the passive tree. So we've got our standard setup here for these type of builds. We've got our Conviction of Power down through Pursuit of Faith and Ritual of Awakening. Because I'm running in very little mana, I can't take Divine Guidance because of the MOM, and I don't really do spells either, so Arcane Surge is out. So what I did do was take this minor node here for the mana regeneration, and this mana node here for the 8% increased mana and mana regeneration. As for the actual passive tree, we go up through Sanctity for precision for the dex and discipline and training. Come down here, we take this dex node because we're dex stacking. We've got this double legacy fluid motion, however the implicit is kind of a bit useless really, but it's there. And then you've got it's max rolled 24 dex. Fluid motions can still be got in League, they just come automatically corrupted. Down through Constitution with the 15 max life because our body armor does not have life on it. Not sure why it's flashing. Up to Sentinel, down through Sentinel, sorry. More resists here just to help out. A max rolled Brawn, perfectly rolled Brawn, so 6% increased strength, dex, and 10% reduced intelligence. We get Mage Bane to help with our suppression. We come down here with an Unnatural Instinct. Through here for Finesse and Quick Step with 5% increased dex from the Timeless Jewel. Through to Intuition, you can see what the Timeless Jewel is doing, so I'm not going to mention them anymore. We've got Aspect of Links up there. Life here. And then we'll go down, I think. We'll come down here through all these dex nodes. We pick up Lethality with project damage per 16 dex. Pick up the Attribute Wheel with 5% increased attributes. We take Fangs of the Frost and Point Blank. More dex along here. And you can see finally we arrive at our first split personality, giving me 5 dex, 5 max life. And that's what this line is for, this different coloured light. To me it looks like it's orange. So all that's doing is tracking the progress all the way through for that split personality. We then also take Golem's Blood and Iron Reflexes, and we come all the way through the totem wheel here, and then we take Totem Mastery to get more totems. Although for Sanctum I am thinking of changing this to the damage taken from hits is taken by your totem first, just to make it a little bit easier. Upwards then from Herbalism we go for both Master Fletcher and King of the Hill. We also then go for Heartseeker and the Crit Mastery there. And then this is our Brutal Restraint Asenath Jewel. I need a better one. Half the things it's given me is irrelevant. Up through the Dex nodes, down to Forces of Nature, through to Charisma, and finally our second split personality. When I get more levels, I will possibly throw in a Cluster Jewel here, possibly a medium one, and then stick another split personality in there to get more stuff, and probably a Watcher's Eye. Or, yeah, I think that's because I can't get another jewel socket anyway, really. Yeah, I might do that. Or I might just get Forbidden Flesh Flame Jewels. I'm not sure yet, but that's upgrades which I don't have currency for at the moment for this build. That's this one done. It was a nice and quick one. Let's move on. This is another RF build, but this time we have a Jugg and it's built for heisting. It is level 98. I think it'd be hard pressed to do this build now for heist because of the changes to the helm enchants, in that they no longer exist, and this character, as you can see, is very heavily mana reserved. You might be able to do it with many 3-point mana reservation clusters, small clusters and enlightens, but from what I've experienced in Affliction League, they are quite expensive. But it's up to you. I'll go through the build and then you can see if you think it'll work or not. Okay, so let's get into the stats. It was created 1,641 days. I think this is my oldest character. It has died 243 times. This wasn't always an RF character. It has gone through many different specs. Most of them were unsuccessful, which is why it's got such a high death count. And it's been played for 18 days, some hours. Let's get into the gear. So we've got a Void Scepter, +1 fire. Well, you can see what it's got on there. I crafted this myself. It's Hunter influenced. I had it laying around in my stash tab. I went to craft it with the if I remember correctly, I think I was alt spamming, got the fire one. I then auged it, got the malevolence aura effect, and regaled it and got the hybrid spell damage and mana. At that point I was like, you know what, I don't care, I'm keeping it. So this is my, unless I get a ton of divines or mirrors, this will probably be my forever staff on this character. Obviously it's got the multi-mod on there as well. This scepter has flesh and stone, tempest shield, and an enlighten. Onto the aforementioned Legacy Devoto's Devotion with the mana reservation for Skitterbots, which you can no longer get because Helm enchants, all enchants are removed as of 3.23. Phase run, increased duration, life tap, and efficacy. Onto our shield. Not sure why we've got... Oh, because of... Yeah, I know why. Minions deal increased damage because of our passive tree is fine, and it's got lots of res on there with max cold res and fire all skill gems. We then run into our marble amulet, which I rolled myself. I dropped this in a map and then I rolled it for this character using fossils. I was looking for attributes, I was looking for lightning resist, and I was looking for armor. Essences, sorry. I tried crafting with fossils, it wouldn't work. So I then went to essence crafting and just used armor essences, and eventually I got it. It's not great, but it will do. We craft it with an all attributes and then whacked on an attribute modifier, and it is just enough for what I need. Down for our rings. Resist statistics. It doesn't do, this character doesn't enter maps. As you can see, this ring was used for Blight on another character and I just saved it because of mass resists. Same with this one, lots of resists with crafted life. We have a brass dome to stop being crit. Crit is a big thing in Heist. You can get charge and crit. If you get hit, you're likely to die. This solves all that. It is a +5 max res as well. And in here we have our Righteous Fire, Woke Ellie Focus, Woke AoE, Woke Burn Damage, Woke Swift Affliction, and Life Tap. Sorry, in our shield we have Arrogance and Vitality with Frostblink. The only reason Vitality has got a quality on it was because it was one of the old alt quality vitalities which 3.23 have removed. Into our gloves, regen, resists, AoE, you can see it. I crafted this myself. I had 100% base gloves. I hit it with an alch, then used perfect fossils to get it up to 30% quality, then scoured it and then rolled it until I got what I needed. And in this one we have our Malevolence, Skitterbots, Enlighten level 3 and Determination. Over to our boots, standard boots with regen, legacy regen enchant, and on here we've got our Fire Trap, Trap and Mind Damage, Swift Affliction and Life Tap. The reason we've only got a 4 link Fire Trap is just for rares. That may block the door while I'm waiting for my rogue to open the door. Usually it's the demolition only heists. This is permanently standard, so I run whatever I drop on the floor really, pretty much. So that's the only reason I've got a Fire Trap. Otherwise this would be something else. Righteous Fire kills everything else. Still does, even with the changes. As for our Stygian Vice, we've got Elder One with increased attributes, life, max life, life recovery rate, and life and mana resist catalysts. And then into our Searching Eye Jewel, as you can see there, damage over time, life, phasing. Blocker is irrelevant. We don't go into maps. We are complete Heist. This is the character I need to get the trinket on my legacy Endless Heist character, which you may have seen in the earlier video. But yeah, duplicate chance to drop currency and augmentation to drop us chaos. Quant is irrelevant, and so is the extra armor. I need a better trinket really for this guy, but you know. My favoured life flasks, more recovery on low life and anti-bleed, with a legacy Quicksilver flask. It's the only reason this character can do well in Heist, because it's got legacy gear all over it. 6 instead of 2 charges, Basalt, Ruby Flask, and finally 7 charges, Poison Granite. That's all the flasks. Let's have a look at the cosmetics. We have a Crypt Sword weapon skin, Ravager weapon effect. We've got the Madcap helm, Madcap body armor, Madcap gloves, Madcap boots, the Yakshar shield skin, and Dark Shard weapon effect on that, with the Stampede Quicksilver flask from a previous battle pass. Lots of invisible effect for our auras, which is a standard for my character, and then just the Harbinger Righteous Fire effect. So look at the passive tree. So we come through here, we pick up Heart of Warrior, we come through here for all of the rares, the max rares, and we've got Cannot Be Maimed or Hindered for purposes of running through Heist, otherwise it would probably be Corrupted Blood immunity. We come through here, we've got our Brutal Restraints of Asenath for the decks, we've got the max res for armor everywhere, we've got the Juggernaut, which gives us more movement speed, which is fantastic for Heist. A max life stamina, Barbarism with flash charges gained, which again for Heist is amazing. This also holds our 50 max life and life mastery. And then we've got Hearty, which has got a little bit of cold resist, which helps out on resists. Up here through, and we pick up Arsonist. And then we've got our Burning Bright Smoking Remains Widespread Reduction Cluster Jewel. We are not using Smoking Remains. We've got 2 medium clusters with one's got Flowing Life with lots of resists on there, which we needed. And then we've just got a damage over time, life, mana, and resist Cobalt Jewel. And this one is Smoking Remains with attributes Rapture Flame. And then finally we have up here a Mortifying Aspect Mana Reservation Jewel. There we go, with regen, resists, and increased effect. Up here we have got our Legacy Energized Armour. The only reason it's Legacy is because it's not corrupt. You can still get this jewel in Affliction League. It'll just come as corrupt, as far as I know. Because of that, we've then got Devotion here, which gives us life and endurance charges and elemental damage. Up through here for Faith and Steel, and 10% of armour also applies to chaos damage. My plan once I get to level 100 is to respec this and then pick up the Sanctum of Thought to give us even more armour, but it's only increased armour, which for 3 points I'm not sure is worth it. I don't need to take the extra crit because I'm wearing a brass dome, so I'm immune to all crits. Up through here for Righteous Army and Spiritual Aid. We come through here for the Sovereignty with the +1 max all res for life and mana. We pick up Purity of Flesh, mainly for the Chaos Resist and more life. The typical Holy Fire and Fire Mastery. Down for Acrimony, I came down here for the Chaos Resists. Corrupted Blood can't be inflicted upon me. Didn't realise I'd done that. My life flask is irrelevant. Bleed, maybe? I don't know. But more importantly, the reduced effect of curses. You get a lot of curses in Heist if you're not careful, so we've got that as well. 10% over damage overfly if you've killed recently, and then pretty much that is the same. We haven't got the mana reservation there because frankly we don't need it. Even I have had the extra level, I probably wouldn't take that. I'll probably look at doing something else once I get to level 99, which I'm not far off, and I don't die in Heist. This is the thing with this character. Yeah, since level 85, I think, it's been running Heist, a dedicated Heist character, and it has not died. All those deaths you've seen are prior to permanently running Heist. Let's move on. We are now on our minion build, and I hate minion builds. I will put this out now. I've said it multiple times across the number of years I've been playing PoE. I hate minion builds. And then Bailey Mage came along with his Poison SRS, and I like this build, and it is now my regular league starter. I'll always be starting Necromancer SRS, whether it's an elemental or then converts into poison or not. It's up to GGG and patch notes, but at the moment, for the foreseeable future, I will be playing Necromancer SRS as future league starts. Let's have a look at this one. This one is currently at level 95, almost level 96. I'm trying to level this character to 100. We'll see how we get on. It is 452 days old. It has got many deaths on it, 99 times, and most of that is in the last few months. Just where I've been trying to level it up, and I've been trying to do some risky content, and much like my Inquisitor RF, if you watched that segment earlier on, just choosing dangerous maps to try and get that fast XP and then losing it on a mistake. So easy maps, easy time. And the final one, 6 days, just over 6 days played. Let's get into the gear. This is pretty much a standard setup for Poison SRS, just at the higher end of the scale. Also with Legacy gear on. So we've got our 7 in Sleep for our MV, and we've got Feeding Frenzy and Animate Guardian, because that way Animate Guardian gets the... I don't know. It just felt better putting Animate Guardian in there. We've got our Awakened Generosity in there for the Envy. We go over to the Helm, which I crafted for Suppression. It needs more suppression. It's only tier 4 at the moment, but it has got life and it's got dex and intelligence, which is what I need. Then we got the all the stuff. This is a perfect base, 263, 30% quality, and in here we've got our Tempest Shield, Malevolence, level 4 Awakened, Enlighten, and Determination. We move on to the Surrender Shield for the Reckoning skill, more armor, life, and life with block. Reckoning is awesome. In here we've got our Purity of Elements, Enlighten, and a level 5 Vitality. We then got our Legacy Ashes of the Stars, so there's 20% increased reservation skills, is now 0. With Charisma allocated. We've got our Bone Ring here with some life and chaos resists with movement speed on there. That now needs to be changed. It now needs to be attack and cast speed. So I need to redo this one, but I'll do it at some point. We then got our 50 stat stick Amethyst Ring with a minion's movement speed as well. Got our standard Covenant, which has got Woke Splash, Woke Void Manipulation, Woke Unleash, Summon Raging Spirit, Woke Unbound Elements, and a DC. Thanks, GGG. See if we can get back into this one. This has happened every time I've been recording now. I don't know, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just getting random disconnects while I'm doing this video. I'm not restarting this one like I have done others. Where do we get to? Ashes of the Stars. We did the rings. I think, yeah. I think we've done that. Right, so we'll go into the gloves. Again, perfectly rolled, perfect base, 30% quality. There's all the stuff on it. It's got T1 suppression. I think I'm like 1% or 2 off of spell suppression cap. Oh, 84. But that isn't correct because I do have a quartz flask which gives me 10, which puts me up to 94, which is why I need to re-roll this helm to give me that T1 spell suppression. I'm trying to get a different helm that I can roll, so I don't have to get rid of this one until I've rolled what I need to. That's the idea anyway. So I'm trying to get it so I can get rid of this flask. I'm not sure I can because this one's got T1 on it. This one hasn't, and I'll do the boots in a minute. In the gloves, we've got our Bone Offering, Arcanist Brand, Despair, and Desecrate. I think the setup's wrong here, so I'm going to have to check that out. I don't think it should be in that order, but it seems to work, so I don't know. On to the boots. T1 spell suppression, 30% quality, perfect base, all that stuff. Raised Spectre, Meat Shield, Stone Golem, and then by itself our Whirling Blades for our movement. On to our Darkness Awakened, near perfect, 98%, with Evasion, Live, 15% Poison, and Blind, Jewel. And the other one, there you go, Live, Poison Chance, Chaos and Cold. We've got a Smuggler's Cash, 10% chance to duplicate. Everything else is irrelevant. This character does not do Heist. Low life, anti-bleed. There's the Quartz Flask we've seen before. And Basalt Flask, Bottled Faith, and a Legacy Roomies. That's all the flasks, that's all the gear, all of the gems. MTX wise, we are rocking the Savage Ethercraft set, helm, body armor, gloves, boots with the Project character effect. We are then rocking the Project weapon skin, acid weapon effect, the necrotic shield with Project weapon effect as well. We have the Apostate's Bottled Faith MTX, which I believe is from a previous battle pass. Standard Gemling Sage Portrait and Apparition Portal effects. We then have the Darkwood Rays Spectre skin, the Tombstone Desecrate effect, lots of invisible aura effects, the Phantasmal Whirling Blades weapon effect, and the Ghost Flame SRS skin, and that is all the cosmetics. I have no idea what spectres these are. They are not the correct spectres for the build, but they don't die. They attack ridiculously fast, and I can't be bothered to change them. I haven't found anything that this character can't do. Because of my medical conditions, I can't usually do bosses. Specifically, the Eater of Worlds that gives you the Void Stone. I can't do that one because I can't see anything on the screen. Everything to me is green. I've been told that it's blue, turquoise, a bit of green and some black. But because of the way GGG have done it, for me, the entire screen is green. So all I can do is just stand still, cast SRS and my Arcanist Brand, and it died. So I was really happy that I finally got a build that can basically tank a boss mechanic and that I can actually kill. Side note, I regularly contact both Chris Wilson and GTC support to tell them that they need to stop making arenas that are relatively same colour, such as Cyrus, which is, I'm told, red and black. I can't see most of it. It's a dark orange to me. Eater of Worlds, there are some places in the campaign where the entire area is green and it's difficult for me to get through. And I made a post on the PoE 2 Reddit hoping that they don't do this in PoE 2. I've not received any replies from the PoE 2 directors, but hopefully they've at least seen it and that might, so I can actually play PoE 2 without the problems I have in PoE 1. Stone Golem's running around. You've got the AG there running around. I cannot remember what gear he's got. I know it's a whispering what's it thing standard. I think he's in Gurrican's Armour, but I can't remember what the other gear. It's on Bale Mage's video, so you can go and have a look at that. Let's look at the passive skill tree. So we've got our standard Necromancer passives. We've got Commander of Darkness, Mistress Sacrifice, Mindless Aggression, and Bone Barrier. Up here for Enduring Bond, got a Ghastly Jewel there. Over here for Sacrifice and Life on Death. Got the increased effective offerings with the Spiritual Command. Through here for Safeguard. Up here for Purity of Flesh and Sovereignty, and then Redemption. Down through Retribution, Discipline Training, Sanctity. We've got the Grave Pact there. We've got Combat Stamina. Through here for the full Sanctuary Wheel and +1 chance to block attack damage per 5% chance to block on equipped shield. We've also got here Tireless for reduced cost of skills. And then finally we have our green Nightmare to help us out with the suppressed chance. On the other side, we come up here for Arcanist Dominion, Lord of the Dead, Mystic Bulwark, and the Mana Reservation. We've got another Ghastly Jewel there, synthesized one, which is awesome. We've got Cruel Preparation up there. We come through Heart and Soul into Deep Wisdom, down for this Jewel Socket and another Ghastly Eye Jewel. Down here through to Instinct for the Spell Suppression. Up here for EB, come back to the Cluster Jewels. Here for the Influence, and then we're going to be going into the Written in Blood there for that. And I'm not sure what I'll do. That'll be level 96, which we can get easily. After that, the other 3 points to 100, I have no idea what I'm going to do with. I'll figure something out when I get there. As for the Cluster Jewel, we have our large 8. This should be a 12 passive. Increased effect, 5 strength and 2 fire resist. We've then got a 3 passive skill reservation modifier for mortifying aspect. You can see all the stats on there. And then we have 1 medium cluster for Dread March and Blessed Rebirth, which do that. And then we've finally got our Amanhu's Gaze Idol, which is 1 off of Perfect. So that's it. I don't think I've missed anything on this one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's the Ghost Flame SRS coming out. This character's been doing a lot of Blight maps as well. This character does all of my Blight maps. It can do Blight Ravaged to T14. After that, it can do T15 White Rolled, but it gets stuck at T16 White Rolled, T15 or 16 Rolled. It can't do them. So I need more investment, more damage, more spell suppression, more better gear, and hopefully I can start doing some more Blight Ravaged maps. That's the content that this character does. Let's move on to the last Perma-League standard character. So this is our last Perma-League standard character, but this one's a bit of different. Yes, it's another RF. Yes, it's a Jugg. However, this character is in hardcore SSF. This character was part of a challenge. All the videos of my challenge progress are on my channel. But the idea of this character was to get a hardcore character in SSF to level 90 and to do all 4 of the Ascendancy lab trials to get the achievements. A lot of people don't realise or have forgotten that you got the challenges, but you've also got this achievement list, and I'm trying to get all the achievements done. And one of them was have a level 90 character in hardcore and to have completed the Lord's Lab, which is the last lab where you get your ascendancy points. So this character was done. It took me 3 tries. One character died to a silly death. I fell asleep in starting Act 6. Woke up and my character had died, and I hadn't done the gem quest, so I had to start all over again with number 2. The rip clip for number 2 is on my YouTube channel, and then number 3 finally made it. It was a long hard slog. It hasn't been played since, but that's the story behind this character. So let's get into its stats. It's 354 days old. Obviously 0 deaths because it's hardcore. And it was played for 2 days. So just over 2 days for me to get this character to level 90 without dying. Let's look at the gear. Remember, this is hardcore solo self-found, so I had whatever I could find and craft. So we've got this 2-stat scepter, which holds our determination and purity of elements. There's our malevolence. We've got this helm. It's a helm. It's got 4 stats on it. 5 if you include the craft. Excuse me. We've got Righteous Fire, increased area of effect, Swift Affliction, and burning damage. For the shield, we've got this shield with Frostblink, Hex Touch, and Flammability. Down for the turquoise amulet here, which again is mainly for the stats, a bit of life and some resists. Same to the rings. Dex craft, I believe these were crafted with essences. It doesn't say that, but I'm pretty sure it was. Dex essences to try and get the dex and the resists on there. Same with this one. Again, I don't think it says essence, but I think they were essence crafted. Just to try and get the dex, force the dex on and try and get some resists. We've got gloves down here. They're gloves. I think I was trying to get the increased regeneration rate and failed. But we've got our vitality and arrogance, and we've got a cast and damage taken, molten shell. That saved me a few times. Then we've got this belt. Again, it's a belt. We've got these boots. I did manage to get some currency, exarch currency to do that. And obviously with the legacy enchant, 10% increased movement speed if you haven't been hit recently. So that was quite nice getting that. And in here we've got our shield charge, life tap, faster attacks with our infernal cry, which I got and never actually used, as you can see, because it's only got 1 XP on it. As for our armour, this is one I had in my stash from, I think, number 2, and I got it out of a Val side area. It's got the intelligence on there and some life, which was really good. And then obviously this will carry our fire trap with combustion, life tap, swift affliction, burning damage, and trap and mine damage. And then because it's hardcore, we've got 2 okay-ish life flasks. We've got our silver flask, our ruby flask, and our granite flask for anti-poison. I think I was just trying to get one without the suffix on there, so I could then craft the proper suffix, and I just didn't have the alts because I've got obviously purity of elements somewhere. There it is. So I don't actually need the freeze. I think I was just trying to roll a decent flask without a suffix and failed quite badly. MTX wise, we are rocking the Darkwood weapon skin with the full bear armor set and the beehive weapon effect for our shield. The standard frames, and this is from alt quality gems which no longer exist. Well, it keeps on saying a mismatch because a gem doesn't exist. So let's just reapply those. Onto the now relevant gems. Not righteous fire, vitality. Take that off. There we go. Not that you can see it, of course, because of the fire. I think that's all of them. Don't think I've got any more. No, I want to keep molten shell on just in case it does proc. Fire trap. Yeah, that's it. Done. There we go. As for the passive tree, this character hasn't been played or really logged on since I did the level 90 challenge. So this passive tree is very out of date, but I'll flick through it anyway. So you've gone through here, Heart of Warrior, Warrior's Blood, get all the extra resist stuff. I took this one because it's hardcore. Down through to get Soul of Steel and to get the mana because didn't have Enlightens. Max res for life and mana. Up to get this one, more max res, Juggernaut, Barbarism, max life, Hearty, round for the Fire Node. Up here for Devotion through to Holy Dominion, Retribution via Discipline and Training and down to Sanctity. Down for the Divine Judgment, up through Righteous Army and Spiritual Aid, the full Sovereignty Will almost, and then Purity of Flesh for the Chaos Resist, more anything else. The standard Holy Fire Fire Mastery. Took this for the Chaos Resistance and Reduce Effect of Curses. Again, hardcore. Up through here for Acrimony and 10% less damage taking from over time. Hardcore. Wasn't taking any chances on this one. Cruel Prep, Deep Thoughts with the Mana Mastery, and then the 2 Heart of Flame and Breath of Flames. This character is unlikely to be played. And of course, where the Jugg was reworked, I don't even have any ascendancy points. Excuse me. But you can do see here, I do have 8 ascendancy points left. So I can allocate them. However, if I allocate them, it will then proc the reset all passives, and I don't want to do that. So there we go. That is my hardcore solo self-found journey. I did try some other characters just to get into the hardcore solo sound. I do quite like it, but the panic attacks and anxiety attacks just got too much, and I'd only got the character to level 21, at which point I said I was done. I've kept all of my stuff in my stash, so I've got all of the gear here under this tab. So I've got loads of gear in, this is standard of course, so I've got loads of gear here just in case I ever want to come back. I've even got a scepter there with physical gems. I've got a lot of other stuff laying around just in case I ever want to come back and do HCSSF. But outside of private leagues or events, I'm unlikely to come back to it. So that's the Garth's adventures in hardcore SSF. Now on to Affliction League. I think I've done another video, I don't know if I made it public, where I was in Baylor's private league. I have migrated out because I got very frustrated not being able to play the characters I wanted. So I've created a another character in there. I'm going to do some league start practice for 3.24. But all my characters now are in Affliction League. I'm not going to go into this character. This character is an SRS build. You've already seen that. If you haven't, flip back to the standard one. There's slight differences, but this one is pretty much a carbon copy of Baylor's Poison SRS build guide. So if you want to know what's on it, just go and have a look at that. What I will go into is my armor stacker for Delve. Okay, so before we go much further, I was dying in Delve a lot and it was frustrating me. I thought it was a gearing issue. It was slightly a gearing issue, but it also was a passive skill tree issue. So I spent about 3 hours looking online, mostly PoE Ninja, having a look at the builds that people have been done, having a look at the depths they would get to. There was a character that got to 1,000 depth with a similar build to this. Without a Mage Blood, whack on a Mage Blood, you can easily double that depth. So I came back to my character, changed the passive tree slightly, invested just under 2 divines in replacement gear. Then I went back to Delve, but where I'd migrated out of the private league, it had almost reset my Delve. I'd got down to a depth of about 85, 90-ish, I think, in the private league, and it reset me back down to 72. There are 2 or 3 nodes on my Delve map that are actually done and completed, but essentially I'm pretty much way back down than I was, which is fine because going through those same nodes again actually caused me to level up, because they were quite easy nodes to do because I'm higher level, but the XP was hot, so managed to get a level. So here we are, level 83. Delve Armour Better. It's a Juggernaut armour stacking character. The gear is okay, and we'll go through that right now after we've done the stats. This is a young character. As you can see, it's only created in Affliction League, so 22 days, almost 23 days old. Deaths are going to be atrocious. 59 deaths, mostly in Delve. And we have played, if I get the command correctly, almost 2 days worth of played time. Let's get into the gear. So we've got a couple of cluster jewels there that I'm still trying to craft. Other than that, like I said, we changed the build, some of the gear, a lot of the gear. Still got rocking 2 replica Dream Feathers. In this one we have Leap Slam of Ground Breaking for the stun. So I jump through the Delve mods on the way to the next Delve node. They get stunned and I can kill them quite easily because they're stunned. So I had an itch. And then we have here our Blood Rage, which as you can see is on left click. Over here in our other Dream Feather we've got Ancestral Protector with multi totems and Defiance Banner. I'm not sure it's active. It is. Yeah. And then we've got Alpha's Howl with Wrath, Determination, and Grace. Not sure why it's showing up that. Wrath isn't active, but it is. I've got it. Maybe it's not. Can't level up, I don't know, but it's there. This is Space for an Enlighten, which I can't afford in Affliction League, and I haven't found one, so it's just a spot. We've picked up our replica Dragonfang's Flight with +3 to smite gems, with max efficiency and max all rares, so it's a pretty good one. I think this was a divine. I'm not sure. I allocated charisma straight away once I got it, so it was quite good. We got a couple of amethyst rings with the -7 total mana. No life, unfortunately, but I went through over 70 intellect essences. I needed that intellect, that high intellect on there, and I needed some resists, and I was trying to get life with an open prefix. Unfortunately, it just hasn't happened, so not sure what I'm going to do about that. Get some currency and buy one pre-made probably. Same with the other side. On here we were looking for lots of chaos resist. This one I actually brought from trade. Cost me 4 EC, I believe. It's got lightning. I was looking mainly for life and lots of chaos resist to get my chaos resist up, and an open prefix non-crafted, so I could get the -7 mana craft on there. So this one cost me about 4 EC, I believe, which is quite cool. once I get the prefix sorted out on there for 23 chaos res, that'll give me a nice almost 50 chaos res, which would be quite cool. Down to the gloves. Again, I crafted these using Dex essences. I blew through about 80 of them. I wanted increased attack speed, I wanted lightning resistance, and I wanted dexterity with a craftable prefix. So this is why I ended up, but it took me a ton of Dex essences. Then we slapped on some Exarch currency. And yeah, that's the gloves done. And in the gloves, we've got our purity of elements, our purity of fire, haste. Haste isn't active, but I can still use the Vile haste. So we're all good. And then that slot will be for a second enlighten. We've gone for an Arn's Anguish setup rather than the other belt, which is an option. I can't remember what it's called. Gives life as mana energy shield. And it gives, I think it's Immortal Ambition, I think. But I prefer this one because it's got the fire res and increased life on there with some armour. So we then take Gurrican's Flight for two reasons. It's got some dex on there, which I need, but it's also got over 1,000 evasion, which, because of our passive tree, turns that into armour. It's also got 30% movement speed, which is quite cool, and immune to most ground effects, plus regenerating life while moving, and then the 2 max life per 10 dex, which is just an added bonus, really. And in this one, we've got our Arrogance set up for level 10 Vitality, level 2 Clarity, which will be for a Watcher's Eye, it's the only reason it's in there, and a level 10 Precision. I'm testing how much I can level these up before I feel unsafe. At level 10 it's fine, so I'll probably push those up a few more levels. As for the flasks, we've got all of these flasks crafted in Affliction, so none of them legacy. We've got our max charge anti-bleed eternal life flask, a max charge increased evasion, which is then turned into armor basalt flask, anti-poison stibnite flask, sulfur flask with chance to be before it's done, and a flashy Atziri's Promise, which came from the private league. So that's quite cool. Although again, these flasks are wrong. I just haven't had the time and or currency to change them out for the correct flasks for the build. On to the armor. I brought this armor from trade. I just needed a 6-link Triumphant Lamia. This cost me 30c. I scoured it and threw mana reservation essences at it. Made sure it did not have a life, so I could pick up the 15% increased max life mastery. And then this one holds our Vile Smite with Lightning Pen, Volatility support, Elemental damage with attacks, Multi-strike, and a Fortify. I brought a level 1 20% quality Fortify from trade, which was about 5c. So that's all the gears and the gem. Cosmetics wise, we have gone full Ravager, Ravager weapon skin, helm, body armor, gloves. Not sure why I don't have the boots. It's a bit bizarre. Or do I have just not loaded? No, I don't have the boots for some reason. And this is being laggy. So, or are the Ravager's boots on a different character? No, I think they might be on a... Oh, there they are. Boom. There we go. Now we've got our webbed feet boots as well. Standard stuff there. That is not liking... Oh, because I don't have War Chief anymore. So we've then got lots of invisible buffs. We've got a Valkyrie Smite effect. More invisible buffs. Because I changed the leap slam, so just reapply that. There we go. And then we've got our Vile Haste gem at the end. So that's all that. And then we look at our passive tree. So this has undergone massive amounts. I'm ignoring the second ascendancy. Oh, another DC. Come on, get me to my hideout. There we go. Right, fine. Last. Right. Where did we get to? I'm ignoring the second ascendancy because I want this character to work in Premier League Standard, so I don't want to buff it with anything, which is why it's not done. Also, I hate the Wildwood on this character. It's annoying. So for Jugg, we've taken Undeniable, Unstoppable, Unbreakable, and Untiring. We come through here, through to Warrior's Blood, up to Heart of Warrior, through here, and we pick up our Watcher's Eye there. I need a minus mana Clarity Watcher's Eye, but they're quite expensive at the moment, so I'm going to try and grind some currency mapping / delving and get one. We come down through Juggernaut and down to get Inoxidable with more armor per stationary. This will be removed once I get some cluster jewels or roll the couple of cluster jewels I have to be correct. But essentially the only thing we're worried about is the mastery, which is regen 1 life per 1 uncapped fire resistance. As he has a bonus of also being covered in ash if I haven't moved in the last 2 seconds. Which is quite cool because it gives them 20% less movement speed, but also does some increased fire damage. And here we've got a little bit of ignite chance. So if they do get ignite, they take some fire damage, and yeah, it's increased by a little bit. We come down here for the Armour the Mana Reservation and Aura Skills effect. This again, some of these are incorrect because I don't have the relevant cluster jewels at the moment, and they are quite expensive on trade. Come through here for Iron Reflexes, which is why I've been stating armor and not evasion. We get Golem's Blood. We come through for Cloth and Chain and the 4 seconds of regen, which is what you can see up in the corner up there. We come through here for a Crimson Jewel. This will be replaced with a Forbidden Flame Flesh Jewel when I get the currency to do that. We've got a large cluster jewel. All of the nodes are wrong, but it's the one I had, so we've gone with it. We've got increased damage while dual wielding. Suppress is irrelevant. It's the only suppress we have in the entire build. More damage against maim, but the only time I can get maim if Smite the Weak actually procs itself. So what I might do is get a point from somewhere, swap in there to get the more attack damage, and then unspec Smite the Weak. It's more damage, but it has to hit maim first, and that's the only chance to maim we have. And then finally we got Martial Momentum, which is attack speed, great, accuracy, great, and damage if we use a travel skill recently, which is great if I'm travelling between nodes, but once I actually get to the node, I sit stationary to get all my unbuffs, so it's a bit 50-50. We've got this eye jewel here for some life and damage, there's blind chance. We've got this one over here for elemental resists, damage and crit. We come up for our Asaneth Brutal Restraint, which is giving us a chance to stun there, and 4 max life here, and that's it, apart from a ton of dex, which is what we need. I do need to get a new one. I'm also considering repathing to come through here to get these nodes. So you go here for the LA Resist, up there, Diamond Skin, through to the increased armor, up for Spiked Bulwark, and then we take this node here. So it's actually more points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rather than 1, so it's 4 extra points, but I get 2 more nodes inside of this Timeless Jewel, whichever it will be, and at the moment Spiked Bulwark with the Alchemist Genius is actually looking quite tasty. At least until I get Mage Blood on the character. Barbarism, up for a second cluster jewel, which is a lot better. Drive Destruction, Insatiable Killer, and Smite the Weak. We haven't got Smite the Weak because we don't need it, which is awesome, but we have taken Insatiable Killer and Drive Destruction. We've then got a Chaos Resist jewel for Chaos Resist and chance to avoid poison, and then we've got Fire Resistance and pure might for the mana reservation and all the fire resists. That's important for a reason I'll come up with in a moment. We've got a quick jewel in here for some attack speed, damage and life. And then we've got Faith and Steel there with the armor and chaos damage. The full sovereignty wheel without the mastery, because there isn't really any relevant masteries. I could get the +1 max all res once I level up. Got the purity of flesh there for the chaos resist, and then we come up here for elemental overload, and then we were coming up for this cluster jewel socket, although I am actually thinking of taking this +1 all max resistance, because we've got mana and life reserved. That would be quite chunky, so I might take that out of there and there, and at least until we can get the right cluster jewels. So that's the build. I need to replace both large clusters and then buy some mana reservation small clusters, and then my Forbidden Flame flesh jewels, a new Watcher's Eye, and improves on gear. So a lot of currency to go into this guy yet, but it's a start. And yeah, there's a skill, there's my totems. My delve, have I got Nico in here? I think I kicked him out. Yeah, I did. Let's just see if we can get into delve. Yeah. So at the moment we are currently at a depth of 72, but if I zoom out, you can see there's 82, and I got down here to 92 in the private league. Even further, I got down to 103. So that's where I got to in the private league. So, but you know, it's a bit of a drag to be back all the way up here. I started off somewhere around, I think it was here. Somewhere around here anyway, and then I cleared all this out and got the level. So yeah, this is I've got 10 of these things. I can't remember what they're called. Flares, thank you. And some dynamite. I've also increased my darkness resistance and light radius. I can't deal with not being able to see. So yeah, I need to start spending my azurite now on some resonators and bulk selling them. But that's that character. On to the next one. On to the next one then. This character is supposed to be a one-shot boss build. This character was from Baylor's Private League, and then I have migrated into trade. I have not spent any additional currency on this character yet, because I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with the character as a bosser, or I'm just going to transfer it into a mapper. The character is currently underleveled at level 76. It is another Marauder. Let's have a look at the stats. 19 days old. 25 times, because I was leveling it as the end game boss build, and so it was bad. That was a bad decision I made. And we've been played for just under 24 hours, or just over 23 hours I should say. So let's get into the gear. So I've got two sets of gear. At the moment I've got equipped the mapping gear that I'm using just to try and get some levels, and then down here you can see I've got other gear which will be equipped once I get to an appropriate level and I am bossing. So we've got the Abysses, we've got the Rislathas, and we've got the Rigwell's Curse with Whispers of Doom already anointed on there. We've got two cluster jewels that I need to roll. This one's quite good, but it is not the correct notables. This one is 50-50. It's got Towering Threat, which I need, but it's got Vast Power, which I don't. So I need to re-roll that. As for the rest of the gear, the main part of the gear is of course the face breakers, and we've got an alt art foil almost perfect face breakers. This houses our Intimidating Cry with our curses in. So we've got Intimidated Cry, Live Tap, Elemental Weakness and Frostbite, which is why we've got Whispers of Doom anointed on this amulet. We've got our Helm, which is used for mapping, with loads of resists, Hatred, Hero Purity, Berserk and Warchief. Over to our Corrupted Red Blade banner. This was the only one in the private league, and although I hate using corrupted gear, this one's actually got quite a good corruption. I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep this as it is or just get a normal one before that oh so nice implicit life. This holds our Arrogance, Precision and Blood and Sand. We've got a stat stick amulet with Depth Possession for the accuracy and -7 mana cast. Stat stick ring for reduced mana. Again, this was just found. This gear is pretty poor because it is from the private league. We've got this. This is just in an attack speed with a little bit of life and minus mana. We've got our replica Lore Weave. Thanks for the Heist team in the private league for this. We've got our, somewhere, there it is, Ice Crash. Boom, boom, boom. This is then supported by faster attacks, elemental focus, Fist of War and Ruthless. And if I remember rightly, this is the only gem that is actually part of the end game build. I never was able to 6-link it despite many tries. This has had about 800 fusings thrown at it and still unsuccessful. Belt, we were just using a Doriani's Invitation mainly for the resists, nothing else, but the increased global fizz damage is also good because we are converting into cold. Then finally we have our boots. This is just resists and movement speed, again just for trying to level. And we've got our Frostblink in here. We've got our Skitterbots. As you can see, my mana's pretty much gone, so we cannot link Skitterbots with our Unbound Elements and Bone Chill support. As you notice, most of the gems are still in the process of being leveled. We've got some very bad flasks equipped at the moment. Again, this is just for leveling. Yeah, let's have a look at the MTX. We are pretty much all Cold Snap Helm, armor set with the gloves and boots. We've got this Arctic Shield skin and Azure weapon effect, the standard portrait and portal, and the only ones we've got are the invisible buff effects and the Wolf Howl Warcry effect, which if we go into screen, I'll zoom out a bit. There you see it. Wait for it to cool down, I'll get a better shot. There we go. And that's it. That is the only MTX on there at the moment. I don't think I brought any more. No, I'm not using that. That's in use. No, I don't like that one. So yeah, that's all of the gear, the gems. Let's have a look at the passive tree. Again, this is a leveling tree, and just like the Delve build, I'm not relying on the secondary ascendancy, so I haven't really taken it. This has got the bark skin as well, which requires mana reservation, which I didn't know because that wasn't mentioned in any of the footage or interviews by GGG. It was just like, oh, this bark skin, this is what it does. No mention that it was mana reservation. So I can't use it because it actually does require 20, well, as you can see, just over 21% mana, and I just don't have any because I'm using it. We've only done 3 labs. We haven't done Master Lab because we're only level 76. So we've got Aspect of Carnage, Crave the Slaughter, and Rite of Ruin. We come through here for Born to Fight, down for Heart of Warrior and Versatility, into Warrior's Blood. We then come down for this glorious Accuracy node. Down here for more damage and AoE with Intimidation. Down for the Champion of the Cause, mana reservation and effect. Into here for more damage. Into here for crit and some crit. Over here for some live. Up here for some armor and elemental resists because we've got iron reflexes. We come down and take Disciple of the Slaughter, and down again and we take Retaliation. Again, a lot of this is just for leveling. We've got the Instant War Cries with the full Bloodless Wheel. Down for this passive here, we've got Drive the Destruction, Strike Leader, and Martial Prowess. We've got a couple of jewels which I found. Crit Multi, LE resists life, cold damage, and resists. And if we go up, we come up through here and we take Combat Stamina. We are on our way to taking Righteous Fury. We've got Sanctity into Precision and Discipline Training down through Holy Dominion for Devotion and Max Life, and then we've got Divine Fever. So as I said at the beginning of the video, I don't know if I'm going to keep this as a bossing build. The YouTube video that I was watching for this build makes it look so easy to kill bosses. I really would want that, but this is also really good to map with because you just run around, and as long as you don't come across anything with cold resist as a rare or something, then or a blue mob, things just die. And the AoE is just huge. I also did some heist with this character and it worked okay. I did some delve with the character and that's where some of the deaths were. But yeah, it's a good build, but I just need to get some levels on it, and I'm going to be doing that in the next few days, hopefully. Let's get to the next one. So this character was featured in another video I recorded about a week ago now, I think, why I think I burnt out on Heist, but I'm going to go through it again anyway. This character is a Heist character because the Heist team were getting so many contracts and blueprints thrown at them in the private league that they couldn't keep up. Excuse me. Or they were just about keeping up, and then Heiro came along, took one of the team out for a few days, so I started to level a Heist character, and this is where we're at right now. We are currently level 76 because at that point a lot of people migrated out with the best private league, formerly known as the Badger Private League, or BPL for short, coming up in the next few days. A lot of people wanted to do that. Bale Mage himself has gone into softcore trade. See his videos on how he's doing. Zero to Hero, that's the name of his series. So yeah, and I've pretty much given up on Heist, as you long-term subscribers will know. I don't really do Heist in League because I do a lot of Heist in Perma League Standard. So there's a community member in Bale Mage's community called Lupus Mortalis, I think it is, and Lupus talked me into Doors or into Heist because his character's name in the league was no maps, only doors. So it's a little private joke. Currently level 76, and let's get into the gear. So this gear is all from the private league I had access to at the time. So we've got 5 links only. We've got this 5-link foil Quill Rain. This houses our Toxic Rain of Spore Burst, Vis Proj, Void Manip, Ballista Totem, and Efficacy. We've got our normal Toxic Rain, Mirage Archer, Efficacy, Void Manip, and Vish Proj in our Queen of the Forest. We've got our Devotos up here with our Phase Run, Life Tap, Efficacy, and Increased Duration. The standard starter here is Bite, Quiver. We've got a Stat Stick Amulet with Sovereignty on. We've got a Resist Ring with some minus mana cost. Another resist ring with some stats, a bit of fire res and minus mana cost. We got these gloves, which are again resists, and this houses our cast and damage taken, molten shell, efficacy, and increased duration for all the lasers in agilities and other traps. And then over here we've got these boots, which is mainly for the resist and the movement speed. This houses our defiance banner, grace, and malevolence, with a little frost blink for mapping. And then which is the Stygian Vice I got with some resists again. And then this is the Searching Igel, some damage and resists. Onto the flasks, pretty much standard flask that I like to use for heist. Reduced charges with anti-bleed, a okay-ish Quicksilver flask. We've got the Evasion Stibnite, we've got the Granite Shock, and the Poison Jade flask. The idea with the character was we'd get our freeze immunity from our Pantheon, which as you can see I haven't quite done yet, and same with our Burning Ground / Ignite. We do that by Pantheon, and everything else is then covered by the flask with the shock and the poison. This is from a mapping character, which I did, which I can't get rid of now. I shouldn't have picked it up. We've got a couple of tier 8 maps. We've got a brooch I'm using, and have got some cluster jewels here. It's only a 2 notable large cluster. I may put some currency into this character to get some levels, but as you can see from the speed, this is with no buffs. I have no idea what the movement speed is on this character. It's in defense. I usually look on PoB, but this character isn't in PoB. So 168% movement speed modifier according to the character sheet in game, which we all know is not always correct. On to the MTX then. We are rocking the Ghost Flame armor set, all 4 bits. We have the Viper Bow weapon skin with the Corsair weapon effect, standard frame and portrait. We've got the Ziggurat totem skin for our Toxic Rain totems. There we go. Invisible buff effects as per normal, and nothing else at the moment. Have we got a spare invisible? Yep. Boom. Pop that on there. Don't think I've got. Oh, there we go. Stitch. Let's have some Stitch Vice. Yeah, there we go. That's it. So yeah, that's the MTX. Oh, I haven't done stats. 9 days, 8 times. That's mainly in the campaign. I don't die in heist. Actually, I think that's a lie. I think I did. I did die in heist. I saw a level 1 counter thaumaturgy contract in the guild bank. I took it out to for Niles to proc the next NPC. I ran it. I was running out and I died, and at that point I realised at level 75 it was an eye level 82 contract. So that's the only death I had in heist. The other 7 were in the campaign. Oh dear. Let's have a look at my passive tree. So here we go. We have obviously gone for Might of the Bear, and we've got Global Blind and Onslaught Effect, Life Regeneration, and chance to cover an Ash. This is for the movement speed. Obviously I don't do any fire damage, but reducing movement speed in heist for the enemies plus might, large amount of movement speed is a great thing. I never got King of the Hill done. No one found it while I was in the private league online, so this character doesn't map anymore. We've got our phasing, Onslaught, and Avatar of the Chase. The next one will probably go into Way of the Poacher. I could come up through here for the avoid elements 50% and then cap that out. I just can't be bothered. It's too much hard work. So we are probably going to go for Way of the Poacher to get those frenzy charges. Tree wise, I come through here, down here, picked up Avatar of the Hunt straight away, then went up here for finesse into our Heart of Oak, through the quick step nodes into intuition, then got this whole life wheel, went down here for a little bit of intellect and Art of the Gladiator, mainly for that ignore all movement penalties from armor. That's an additional 3% movement speed plus additional dexterity, which adds into the Queen of the Forest. Then we came up here for Aspect of the Lynx, more movement speed and attack damage. Through the full Survivalist wheel to help us out with resists. Get more suppression here. Up round for Hunter's Gambit and Revenge of the Hunted. Down through Charisma, up into Wasting. Wasn't sure I was going to be able to get the cluster jewels, so at that point we went through to Hide Killer. up through Harrier, which is quite a good node, into the leadership wheel, and then up into Thrill Killer and Mana Mastery. I still don't know why I took this one, because the Mind Drinker is actually a better node. I think at the time I wasn't going to come up this far. I wasn't going to come up here at all. I was going to stop at Resourcefulness, coming through Coordination, Blood Siphon, Entropy, Fangs of the Viper, Blood Drinker, Resourcefulness, and then I think I was going to go up here to Trickery and then into here for this wheel. The reason we go for this wheel, we get Chaos Resistance, Chaos Resistance, Chaos Resistance, but more importantly, it is the closest way and easiest way to get Cannot Be Maimed and Hindered, which is a really important factor when heisting. And I did come through here, and then I looked up here for Growth and Decay. I was like, that's actually really good node. So I think at that point I respect the tree and took out these two, put them in here, travelled up here, get this wheel, but I never went back and got rid of Thrill Killer, because this is only 1624 with 2%, and Mind Drinker is 8 and 2028 with the 2% as well, plus it's got the internet there, so it's even the same points. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So I'll have to in fact, let's do it now. Boom, 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 done. Get rid of those. Boom, boom, boom. Apply. Take the mana reservation node. Boom. There we go. So that gives us an additional, what, 28 versus 24. So 4% extra mana. Yay! Not that I need it at this moment. I might try and stick another aura in. Don't know which one. I'm not going up for EB. That is just too far away. So yeah, that's the passive tree as it stands at the moment. I'm here ready for the cluster jewel setup. But as I said, I'm not sure I'm going to use this one or invest in it. I might just keep it a nice simple tree. It depends how much heist I want to do. All my heist stuff is currently up for sale that I found mapping, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this character at all. It's just a fast, speedy girl. So yeah, that's the heist character. One more to go. So this is the last character, and it's not going to take very long at all. It's only a level 2 character. I was going to use this to do some league start practice for 3.24, but I've kind of given up on the idea. This character is in the Ballista private league, but I'm probably just not going to bother. It was going to be a SRS, like league start practice, but I don't know if I can be bothered. And with my league starts always come down to, do I get the right gear and links? And that's all it is. If I can get the right 3/4 links with the right colours, it doesn't have to be on the base. I've managed to get past that. But if I can get the right coloured 3/4 links in Act 3/4/5, then I get to I finish my first map from like the beach all the way through to completing the first map, so I'm actually ready to map. I can do that in just over 7 hours. I waste 3+ hours trying to get the right links and colour links. And then when I get to Act 6, I like to be resist cap, because coming out of Act 6, after that loss, I hate going into the first area after Act 6, and then there's fire all over the place, there's cold all over the place, and if you are not running either Purity of Elements or you're not resist cap, then I just end up dying, and that frustrates me, and that can cause me to quit leagues, which I have done in the past. And that's where my time goes, just Act 5 done, kill Katava done, go and complete the gem quest, get that done, and then rejig gear, resist cap, get all the gems in the links, and off I go. And that process can take 90 minutes to 2 hours, and that's where I lose all my time. I do not know how I get past that, being OCD, autistic. I don't know, and that is where I fail, which is why I generally don't traditionally league start, because it's just too much hassle. So this character is actually just hanging around at the moment in the private league, not doing anything. Yeah, let's go to the outro. Very important outro. So here we are then, back on the Death Oath character while I just go through the outro. I know this was particularly a long video and there is no gameplay, but I just wanted to go through all the existing characters I have, their future plans, and how I intend to keep going. As a side note, you cannot access my profile because I've made it private, mostly because I had a few comments, messages here and there saying that someone had tried to copy one of my builds but they couldn't make it work, and then when I looked at it, it was actually trying to copy one of my Perma-League standard builds, and it wouldn't work because they didn't have the legacy gear that I had. So I've made it private to stop that. I don't need the hassle. I don't need those type of messages accusing me of doing or lying or being, you know, deceptive, etc. I've been quite verbal and warning about which characters have legacy and which characters won't work in the current league, so that's why it's all private. I'm also not going to provide POBs because the likelihood is I end up playing the character and I either, for the standard characters, I may level up, at which point I need to change the passive tree and that'll all change, and I don't want to be updating the POB. Or I may decide to delete the character, any character, and therefore I'm no longer playing it, and I don't know where I would be going with it. And a lot of my characters are personalised. Inspiration for these characters come from a multitude of places. I will try to put the links below for characters that I have copied. Some characters have come direct from PoE Ninja, and it is just a matter of searching the skill and the ascendancy, and you should be able to do that yourselves if you are so inclined. And that's it. I'm done. No more YouTube videos from me. The era is over. I don't have the time anymore. It is affecting my mental health, my physical health, and my family life. Doing the Heist videos has been a great joy to me. I love doing them. I love helping people out. But the comments I get about how I've not included something, or the constant, well, what build do I use? It doesn't matter for Heist. It really doesn't. If you want to make a movement speed character, it's easy. I provide all the information on a Google document telling you exactly how to build a Heist character. And I'm just fed up. I am not a content creator. I am a casual YouTuber, or was now. I am medically retired. This means my government, the UK government, have decided that I am too ill to work for various reasons. Therefore, I am on state funds. I cannot make any money from YouTube because a single penny could upset my state funds, cause an investigation. And while the investigation is ongoing, the state funds are paused, which means I have no money, I can't buy food, I can't pay bills, etc., etc. With that as well, it's very hard to justify spending 4 or 5 days doing the video content, publishing, getting the video done, and then patch notes come out, I have to make amendments, and then I can release a video, and then someone watches it a week into the league and go, well, why haven't you included in this? So we'll look at the freaking date when the video was done. It was done on the day of patch notes. No one had started the league. But I can't say that because then people get upset. I've also disabled comments on this YouTube video because I don't want to deal with them. If you comment on one of my other YouTube videos, likelihood is I'll ignore it. So yeah, I'm done. If you want more Heist information, either join TFT into the Heist channel. Loads of people there helping everyone out. Or you can check out Asmodeus. They don't do in-depth, full, complete Heist guides like I do, but they do Heist during League, which you may find of interest. And as a side note, unless patch notes specifically change anything in Heist, my complete Heist guides will probably stay up to date. As of the recording, the game mechanic guide in TFT is very much out of date, as it still refers to Endless Heist, which we all know was removed some time ago. I have let the moderation team know multiple times, but they have no interest at the moment of updating it, it seems. Or they haven't got anyone that they want to update it with, so be wary of that. Do not follow that mechanical guide. I cannot say anything about the other mechanical guides on TFT because I haven't read them. And with that, I'm signing off. Hope you enjoyed the content I've provided with you on my channel. There will be no more videos of any games at all. This is the end. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the fish.